That was the Jeff White Band with Old Plank Road, sometimes known as Won't Get Drunk No More. Up next is Mike Cross, who's going to teach you how a fiddle is made. Now pay attention, kiddies.
Finally, and most importantly, inside the sound chamber we place a live baby kitten.
This is a great CD. Really a great CD.
What you're playing right now?
Yeah, live and kicking.
You see. Difference between a fiddle and a violin.
Oh yeah.
You don't spill a beer on a $2,000 violin.
Right.
Hi there. Once again, thank you for coming to the Missoula Community Radio launch party. What a great turnout. I'm so appreciative that everybody took time to stick around after the Women's March debrief and celebrate with us. Well, my name's Ann Zalda-Petrie, and I'm the president of the board for Missoula Community Radio. And we had our clandestine launch on January 1st on New Year's Day at 10:55 because we're 105.5 FM. And that was sort of a trial run so that we could make sure all the equipment worked and our transmitter stayed on and all of that. And everything's good so far. So this is our official launch. And thanks. We need to say thank you to a lot of people. And first of all, I need to say thank you to my husband, Alan, and my daughter, Erin, who's around here somewhere, and my kids for putting up with a lot of this. So thanks for hanging in there with me. Then I have to say thank you to John Van Dyke and Aaron Jennings. And I think Aaron is around here somewhere, but the three of us had... He's up on the roof? Is he really? Oh. You never know with that guy. He might have climbed up with the road. The three of us have had endless emails and texts and meetings and hours here at the Union Hall putting together the radio station. So I feel like we've become a family, and I am so appreciative of that. And I can't express how grateful I am to them for seeing this through. And then I need to thank, yes, we should have done that. I want to thank Justice Ender, who's a young man who couldn't be here today, but he's been on the board since the very beginning. And he does our graphic arts, and he also serves as our secretary. So he takes notes during our endless board meetings and makes them public. So yay for Justice Ender. I wish he could be here, but he just couldn't do it. And then Sue Orr, who's standing over there like filming stuff with her iPad, I think. Yeah, and Megan Bailey, and Mick Harsel, and Rich Walks, who's around here somewhere. Am I missing anybody on our board? Jim Gillen. Michael. Yeah, big crawdaddy, heck yeah. The board has been tireless in working toward making this day possible. We've had untold numbers of fundraisers and large numbers of 3-hour-plus meetings and button pressings and all kinds of other stuff to put together the funds. We've raised over $15,000 so far. That we have squeezed every penny's worth out of. If you tour our station, you'll see that the equipment is used but well loved, and we definitely have made every cent count. So if you have contributed to the tip jar tonight, thank you for doing that, and know that that's going to be going to some pretty cool stuff like better microphones for the on-air personalities to use. So all of that's in the works. We already have plans for improvements to the studio just to make it up to standard. So thank you so much for all of that so far. So I have some words about community radio in general. And I just want to say that the reason that this is so close to my heart and is a passion of mine is that I think it's a way to connect. I think it's a way to build bridges across divides, and I think that we have a resource, especially in this political climate, that can actually change our community for the better. So I appreciate you being here for this launch day. And now my next job is to introduce John Van Dyke, our general manager, because he's speaking next. And I have some stuff written down about that. So, it's my honor to introduce John Van Dyke. He's our station manager. I know of John from my time at KBGA, but I didn't know him very well. We had met just at different events, but I had never really talked to him. So my first experience of seeing a little deeper into John's soul was at a board meeting at my house. And at that meeting, we were all sitting around on the deck, and with my camera, I went to take one of those panoramic shots, 360-degree pictures. And when I looked at my camera, every single picture was John. So I think it's true, and I put it on Instagram, and I got like 4,000 likes. So I think that was predictive of what this station would look like in the future. So John's tireless, he's hilarious, he's dedicated, he's brilliant, he's gentle, he's informed, he's empathetic, he's really thoughtful. We've had several discussions where I wanted things one way, and at the end I had totally changed my mind and believed it was my idea from the get-go. And that's due to John's ability to be gently and compassionately convincing. I'm proud that he's my friend, and I'm even prouder that he's the general manager at this radio station. So, our general manager. Woo!
Hi, I'm John Van Dyke. I'm with Missoula Community Radio. I'm pretty proud to be able to say that. Wouldn't it be great if there were a station that was freeform by default? A radio station that took on even just a few issues that nobody else will discuss on the air or in print? Wouldn't it be great if there were a radio station that was independent of corporate or institutional interest, but was intrinsically tied to its community? Yeah, sounds like a great radio station. Sounds like an imaginary radio station. But it becomes reality with real people who have real commitment. And it's clear that we have found that. I've come to meet and learn to respect a lot of great people on the board, but I'm talking to a different crowd. Our board is amazing, the best people. That's not even funny in here. I can't even get a chuckle. No? Fair enough. But past this prelude, I think everybody that is on our board has a rich experience that they've brought to the table that took us a long time to finally bring to fruition, but here we are. All of their experiences and my experience have been building to this, and we've successfully launched. It's amazing. But the real challenge begins now. It's volunteer powered. I mentioned this earlier this morning to our first class of DJs that they're the soul of the station. We may be the legs or the brain functions or whatever that causes you to hiccup that you can't really put a finger on. The DJs and the presenters are the soul of the station, the one thing that you can't singularly put your finger on. It's ever changing and endless in energy. And I think we found that in this first group of volunteers who are going to be what creates the identity for this station over the years. I'm really looking forward to working with all of them, and I'm looking forward to taking your complaints over the telephone and on the internet and in the comment section of the newspapers. If you would like to call in directly, our number is 406-541-8601. Aaron, that's your cell number, right? No. All right. So finally, I'd just like to put out a couple of thank yous. One to my wife, who is doesn't really understand a lot of times why I'm doing this without pay. The other, I'd like to thank Clark Grant, who's in the crowd, who's been able to provide a lot of his expertise for our station and for our sister stations in Butte. Well, that's where he's based out of now, and up in Hot Springs. So, and thank you all for coming out, and I hope that we can continue to count on your support. This is no longer Missoula's best imaginary radio station.
Okay, so I forgot to thank Clark. I owe a lot to Clark. He's like, what's up? And Ben Weiss and everybody that participated in the founding of KBMF, and this guy right here. Yeah, thanks, Clark. And I cannot believe that in my list of thank yous, I had it written prominently, but I did not say thank you to David Max. And I don't know why that is, but now I get to introduce him, so it all works out anyway. It's the Clark paradigm, yeah. Clark and David are tied at the hip somehow. I don't know. So David Max was the person who first envisioned a community radio station in Missoula. And he is the guy who wrote the original application to get the construction permit for Missoula Community Radio. So our history is this. Back in 2008, my friend Teresa Waldorf and I were looking to do a radio show, and I found Missoula Community Radio on the internet, and I tried to get a hold of David then, and he did not respond to me. So lucky for us, we responded. We ended up at KFGM, where I met Clark and Ben and that whole crew, which has changed my life in a million good ways. But then Clark wanted to start a community radio station in Butte, and I'm on board with that. I love community radio, so Ben and I and Clark met with Amanda Curtis in Butte, and hence KBMF was born. But all along the way, I was trying to get a hold of David via Facebook and through an email address that is defunct, I found out later, and I never managed to get a hold of him. But I could see online that Missoula Community Radio had a construction permit, and I wanted to be part of starting this station. So I turned up the heat on trying to get a hold of David on Facebook, probably, 2013, 2014. Must have been 2014, because I knew that the construction permit had been granted. And finally, I think he just got sick of me emailing him once a week and responded. And so then we met up and realized we had a lot of the same goals and a lot of shared a common vision for what this radio station could look like. And he was at the first meeting that I was a part of at my house, and we went from there. So he's a tireless radio activist. He does a show Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoons from it's 4 to 6, right? Called Conspiranoia Maximus. And that gives you some ideas about his politics and his interests, which the diversity on Missoula Community Radio just continues to grow, and I'm grateful for that. So are you ready to talk now? Is it time? Okay, so David Max.
Hello. This is it's a lot harder to talk when you can actually see the people. And the mic. Here, hold on. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I'm DJ D-Max, and I don't want to talk too long, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and so I thought maybe I could do a brief history of Missoula Community Radio from the beginning, with thank yous along the way, and then wrap it up. So I'm just going to launch into that. So Missoula Community Radio, let's see. Actually, first, thank you. I would like to thank George W. Bush. I'd like to thank George W. Bush because he was one of the first inspirations for me to want to get a different voice on the airwaves of Missoula, because I was sick of hearing Rush Limbaugh or hearing someone else quoting Rush Limbaugh. I was growing more and more tired of the evening news and what I was getting there. And after the Supreme Court installed him in 2000, I just thought, okay, I got to start doing something. So in 2001, I actually ran for city council, Ward 6, Green Party, came in third, 6 votes. It was, let's see, September 11th, 2001 was the primary day. It was an interesting day for myself. I don't know if anybody else remembered what happened on that day, but anyway, you know, as time goes on, it's just the frequency, intensity, the need to have something independent in Missoula just continued to grow for me. Then Air America came along. I don't know, does anybody remember when Air America was on the air? It was great. And I got to come in and be a guest on their morning show at one point, and I was really interested, and so I was talking it up as much as I could with the station manager and people involved with that. And when it got taken off the air, I felt like, even though I wasn't part of what was going on really, I felt like I got stabbed in the back. And so I actually started an effort to get Air America back on the air in Missoula. And I had conversations with station managers, station owners here in Missoula. I had conversations with Air America in New York. I got a call from Ed Schultz one Saturday morning and talked with him for an hour. But what I found is that the radio, commercial radio, is fairly locked up. And that ownership of radio and media is kind of hard to come by, and it's expensive. So even a low-performing station in Missoula would cost $5,000 a month to lease the signal, and for nothing else, just the signal, just to have access. So that we made a good effort, we got signatures, and it didn't wind up happening. So in 2006, I caught wind that the FCC had opened up an application window for a full power, non-commercial, educational radio signal, and thought, okay, hey, this is it. This is our shot. We can do this. So I got to work and put notices out that we were going to meet. People were going to meet, get together, and we did. And originally, this was called Our Evolution Radio. And it was kind of a play on OU, capital R, Evolution Radio. And the idea was that we don't have a revolution without evolution. So, but people said, hey, no one's going to know what you are. I mean, that's just kind of confusing. So you got to change it. So we changed. So then we became Missoula Independent Radio. And I got introduced to the Independents, the Missoula Independents, the actual Missoula Independents, their legal counsel. And I was informed that to cease and desist with use of the name immediately, or we'd be getting a follow-up letter. And not having deep pockets or a whole lot of funding in the bank, we decided that would be a good choice. So we became at that point Missoula Community Radio, which is what we are today. So that's where the name comes from. And so we applied for the signal. We did all the engineering. We used an amazing individual out of Portland, Mike Brown from Broad Broadcast Services. If you ever get a chance to meet him, shake his hand, thank him. He's an incredible guy. And yeah, we got our application and got it done. And then there were 3 applications for 2 signals. There's some details there I won't go into. But we were in a tie, and basically we got some bad advice from our FCC attorney. I was at that point in my life learning the idea that sometimes you don't know who your worst enemy is, the attorney, your attorney, or the attorney sitting across from you. And the moral of the story is make sure you follow your own advice and be well researched, because sometimes attorneys don't always know, and that's okay because they're humans just like everybody else. But so we got some bad advice on backdating some documents, and we lost, and I was devastated. At this point, I want to thank some of the old board members. Richard Watts, actually, was mentioned earlier. He was actually my campaign manager in 2001 for city council. Also, he was on the original board of Missoula Community Radio. Sarah McCollum, I don't know if she's here tonight. Let's see her. Mark Umley. And we had a board member pass away kind of unexpectedly recently, Varian Blanchard, who was an acupuncturist, and he went too early, but Varian, thank you. And so at that point, we had raised funds to pay for the engineering and to get our name out, and now we had to just sit and wait. And there was this thing out there called low power FM. And what it is just it's limited to 100 watts, and so you're not going to have this flamethrower and broadcast everywhere. But in a place like Missoula, it worked pretty well actually. In a lot of ways, it's kind of better for us because it's easier to power. Like we could run this thing off of solar, or a wind generator, or car batteries, and it fits us. And so, to be honest, if I would have applied for the low power signal, if I had had a choice between full and low power, I would have gone low power from the start. But there was no window open. We had to wait for a window. So year after year, I waited. Sometime around the time that Ann started thinking about contacting me, I learned an important lesson about backing up computers, because I wasn't doing that. And the whole listserv, this is back prior to Facebook, and as easy as it is to maintain email lists now. Back then it was a listserv. You had to maintain it, myself. And when the crash happened, I lost it. And so some people are like, well, where'd you go? I said, well, I'm still out there. I just couldn't call you. I lost your number. And it's the truth. It really is the truth. So I apologize. I feel really bad actually that I lost contact with people. But anyway. In 2013, for years actually, a number of years, LPFM, low power radio, low power FM, was one of the only issues out there that had complete bipartisan support. It had absolutely no detractors. But for some reason, it never passed. It never moved forward. It just languished. It just sat there year after year. Finally, in 2013, that changed. They opened a window up. I was in the process of trying to decide if I was going to be a farmer or what I wanted to be when I grow up. I'm still trying to figure that out. I thought I'd had it worked out. I'll let you know. But anyway, 2013 I was moving to Hot Springs, maybe not. I was staying in Missoula, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity, so I applied for permits for both Missoula and Hot Springs, and got them both. While I'm moving to Hot Springs, as Ann mentioned, she started stalking me. The attorney said I didn't have enough to get her to back off, but it's actually a joke. Ann's incredible. She and John and Aaron and Megan Bailey and Justice Ender, Richard Walks. How am I forgetting? I'm dealing with a cold right now, so it's not good. Well, Michael came on late, kind of like reinforcements. But this is the current board. What's that? Just in time. And the new board really became kind of the energy, because the permit was the first step. The next step was getting the equipment together and building the station out. And then the next step of engaging the community and getting the amazing talent, information, creativity that Missoula has to offer on the air. That's the step that's going on right now. That's the engagement step and the tool step of being able to use this as a tool. And that's at the end of the day what I see. I left Missoula. I live in Hot Springs now full time. I've got a little farm up there with my wife and 2 kids. And we started a station in Hot Springs, so I'm managing a station up there in addition to doing a show down here. But this is a tool for Missoula to share, to communicate. I think the time that we're living in right now of information, it's funny, I was thinking about this, we have more access to information right now than probably at any time in our collective history, yet we're having about the hardest time actually deciphering what's real and what's not at the same time. And we have all this connectivity, but yet we feel so distant from each other. We feel disconnected, we feel separate. We really think a lot about our differences. And I think community radio has the potential of helping us see the things that we share and bring understanding to each other. We don't always have to agree with each other, but I think it sure helps when we can try to understand where the other is coming from. And there's a lot of amazing people in this community. I felt inspired to do this because of what Missoula gave to me and the healing that Missoula gave to me and the love that Missoula gave to me. So this is my giving back to Missoula, and I hope that Missoula really utilizes it and uses it to build community, to build trust, to build awareness. And thank you all for coming out, and go Missoula Community Radio.
Okay, I have one last thing. There's more cheese.
We should mention where all the cheese came from and the other food. So, Biga Pizza down the street donated 5 of those fantastic pizzas. Were they good?
So good.
Good. I didn't have one.
Me neither, you guys all ate it.
Cheese from Missoula Food Co-op. Buffalo Thuringer from Valhalla Farms in Hot Springs. Hummus from David's mom and Rattlesnake Outdoor School, I believe it's called. Am I getting that right? I'm not getting a no, so I guess that's right.
He's talking to somebody else.
And the cake was from Costco, right?
Yeah, cake was from Costco. So the last announcement I have to make before we're free to party and drink and stuff is that Missoula Community Radio is one radio station in a network, a burgeoning network of community radio stations in Montana. And so in the community radio network of Montana is KBMF in Butte, represented here by Clark, and Our Revolution Radio in Hot Springs, which is another radio station founded by David Max. So our compatriots, our comrades in Helena are just about to go on the air, and that station is KMEH, and the MEH stands for Meh, and also Montana Ethical Hackers, which are a colorful and amazing group of people. So there will be at least 4 stations in that network, which hopefully will help us with things like underwriting and raising awareness and all of that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in getting involved with Missoula Community Radio, John Van Dyke's the guy to talk to, and DJ Applications, I think we're out of them right now, but we'll have more soon.
Monday.
And then if you want to know anything else about Butte, there's Clark. If you want to know anything else about Hot Springs, there's David Max. And thank you so much for coming. And it looks like Mick has something to say as well.
I'm like David. I have talked a lot into microphones without seeing any faces, so I'll close it well. I don't really have to. I just wanted to say one thing. You may have noticed we're in a union hall, and the fact is that one of the big slogans for union members is "United we bargain, divided we beg," and hopefully this station will be something to bring more people together, so it'll have more power to have an effect on the country. We'll have bargaining power. Thanks.
I don't think there's anything to say after that, so thank you for coming.
Eat this cheese or my wife will. My name is John Van Dyke. I'm the general manager of Missoula Community Radio. I grew up in Missoula, spent about 15 years in Japan, where I actually got my start in radio, doing a local program highlighting local musicians. We'd have them come on and do interviews with them. Many hijinks ensued. It was a lot of fun for a good 3 years. Came back to Missoula in 2010 and really missed doing radio. So I got involved with the college radio station, KFGM. Great station. And a couple of years ago, rumblings, I started hearing about a new station possibly starting up in Missoula, Missoula Community Radio, and they asked me if I'd like to be involved with their board. I said, "Oh, yeah, I love boards. I went to graduate school to be on a board. Public administration is all about boards. So yeah, I got involved with the board a couple of years ago. It took about a year and a half of fundraising events and pulling all the materials together. A lot of it used, a lot of it donated. Some of it we just had to bite the bullet and purchase at full retail price. We finally were able to put it all together and build this place in the Union Hall. Happy to be here. I grew up listening to radio in town. XT93, Z100, the Comedy Hour, and Dr. Demento were great things to listen to late at night when I was supposed to be sleeping. I'd always go to school the next day just really zonked out because I'd been listening to the radio all night long. Of course, Casey Kasem, the Top 40 and all of that. I got really, I guess, disillusioned with radio as well around high school. I was finally able to, buy my own music, go down and buy a CD or a record, and no radio station was playing what I wanted to hear. So I stopped listening to radio. I'm absolutely not interested. But my experience in Japan, doing my own radio show, listen to the radio there, it was like, what is all this stuff that is being played 10, 15 times a day? Why? What is the point? So when a community station, well, there were actually about 6 community stations in Sapporo where I was living, where we started the program, that were doing what we're doing here. Community members creating programs that are of interest to community members. We share this community. We share a lot of we have a shared interest. Just by virtue of living in the same town, even if we don't have the same political values or we don't golf at the same golf club or whatever, we don't eat the same meat or we're vegetarian, whatever. There are a lot of things that do bring us together. At a very an intimate level, we have neighbors that we don't know, people that live across the street from us that we whose names we don't know. That's a strange thing. I think creating community is vitally important for a healthy relationship with your world. What can we do as a radio station? As a listener, you're listening. Well, what are you listening to? What can we as a station provide to listeners that helps to bridge that gap? Well, we can encourage people to come onto the air and share their stories and talk about their neighborhoods, talk about their kids, talk about their eating rituals, talk about their religious rituals, talk about their experiences organizing in their community, or talking with their public officials, their elected officials, all of those things. Telling them and listening to them help to create community and increase capacity. Well, the station itself then is creating capacity for the community. I'm really excited about the ridiculously broad stretch in programming in a single day. We've got some incredible ideas for shows that have already taken off. Saturday morning starts with yoga. I think that's great to have yoga on the radio. We've got bluegrass shows, bayou shows, punk shows, all vinyl punk shows, rock shows, really, really heavy and well-researched metal shows, and everything in between. We've got shows that are hosted by high school students, senior citizens, people with zero radio experience, and people with decades of experience, and people who have a decades-long interim between having radio experience and now having experience. I think we're just getting started, so I'm really excited for the future.
So Edison invented the phonograph in 1877, and by 1880s, 1890s, they were in full production making wax cylinders. That's to catch the grease.
Wow.
First one I got was in St. Regis.
Really?
Yep.
Are they running out of slots now?
They're narrowing down mostly, and you volunteered for weekend. It's mostly weekend stuff now. It's
Really?
late. But I have a couple friends who can't stream yet, one down in Taos and another in California, and I send them my set list, my playlist, and they compliment. I've got a friend in New Orleans, and I said, what can I do to improve this? And he goes, less Aaron Neville. I said, it was his birthday, that's why.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
My name's Ann Zalda-Petrie, and I'm the president of the board of directors of Missoula Community Radio. Tonight we had our launch party. So on toward the end of December, we turned on the transmitter and all the equipment just to see if it worked. And we got a signal, and we did some repairs, and we decided on January 1st to go on the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as sort of a trial to make sure that the transmitter didn't crap out and everything worked. And we have been on the air 24/7 since then. So today, on January 28th, we had our big launch party where we invited everybody that supported us from the very beginning to come and have some cake and snacks and get some mugs and celebrate with us. It's accessible to everyone. So even the poorest kid with a dollar store radio, hey Michael, the poorest kid with a dollar store radio can listen. You don't have to have money, you don't have to have money for an internet connection, you don't have to have a computer, you don't have to have anything but the most inexpensive equipment, and then you can pull a signal out of the air. So I love how egalitarian it is. And community radio I love especially because it offers everybody the opportunity to have a voice. So everybody who's interested in broadcasting can come in and be trained and have a show. What that promotes is diversity of opinion and access to information that isn't otherwise accessible. So I love community radio. I think it's transformative, and once a person is on the air, they never want to be without a radio show. Today we had a training, we had our first DJ training, and there were several DJs who had been on the air anywhere from 50 years ago to 6 months ago at college radio, and they said they always longed to be back on the air. And that moment where you can express yourself and you know people are listening, it's transformative. It changes you. Short term, I'm really looking forward to having really nice gear. So I think we're still in the fundraising phases in a lot of ways. We kind of always will be, but really we need to, there's some concrete things we really need to purchase. And so I'm looking forward to having that all purchased and wired in, and so we have a real stable studio. And then over the next 5 years, I'm looking forward to people. I love the music shows, and I'm glad that we have people who are doing music, especially like Big Crawdaddy here, music that's not heard anywhere else in Missoula. But I'm really looking forward to people producing content interviewing people they're interested in, following up on stories that they think are going to be important to Missoula, and airing those. There's no other place to do that. And so, you know, being from MCAT, that community access television has brought about some really amazing personalities and really amazing TV. And I think we're going to do the same thing with radio. I guess the main thing that I want to communicate is that community radio has a place for everyone. So we have currently DJs who have not a progressive political perspective, but they're still accepted and they're still encouraged to express whatever viewpoint they have. So it's not just kind of a left-leaning liberal medium. It really is intended to represent what Missoula is and to communicate what Missoula needs to hear.
Up next is probably the best version of Gentle on My Mind that you ever heard. It's Tim O'Brien, David Grisman, Nick Forster from Hot Rise, Pete Wernick from Hot Rise. This is from a tribute concert to Charles Sawtelle. It's recorded back in 2001. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you agree with me about this version of Gentle on My Mind.
It's knowing that your door's always open and your path is free to walk.
So Grisman's playing the mandolin and Tim's playing the bouzouki, or the octave. Yeah.
When you're growing up, did your folks watch Glenn Campbell?
Oh, sure.
Same here.
Thank you very much.
You like that version of Gentle on My Mind?
Very much so.
My name is Big Crawdaddy. My real name is Michael Koosledge. I got hooked up with KFGM through our sister station in Butte, KBMF, because I was over there every other week doing a 3-hour New Orleans show from the Big Easy to Butte, America. Now I call it From the Big Easy to the Big Sky. And my girlfriend gave me the name Big Crawdaddy, and she is the voodoo queen when I'm on the air. And the general manager over there suggested, so I wouldn't be traveling as much, because I was losing a day and a half of the weekend, that I hook up here with the board, and they put me through my paces. I had to work 20 hours to get on the board, but I helped build the antenna, put it on the roof, put it up, and I just love the idea of community radio. Freeform radio, real, true freeform radio, where the DJ plays whatever they want. No corporate prostitutes here. Music has helped me all get through my life, through periods of depression, through down days. I'm completely clean and sober. And when I was in the depths, it's music that kept me going. I met the Voodoo Queen, our piano teacher introduced us. She's a much better player than I am, so I play electric bass now. Music, since I was a teenager and rebelling in the early 70s, music has been my outlet, my go-to. I have a passion and enthusiasm for great music, not music I've heard for 45 years, Hotel California by the Eagles, but New Orleans music. I go to Jazz Fest every year. I just love the rhythms, the funk, the beat, the gospel, every aspect of New Orleans music. Doesn't lock me into a genre. I'm psyched up to be a part of the community, to let people know about what's going on, rides needed, stuff like this from my old days as a teenager, hearing freeform radio where somebody would say, hey, I'm riding to Eugene. Does anybody need a ride? Or I need a ride to Eugene. The idea that we can be a small community that gets the word out. We're not a corporation. There's no money being made by anybody on this station. It's all volunteer. It's passion. It's enthusiasm, motivation, ambition. I'm 62 years old and having a ball. I would hope people will give KFGM 105.5, LPFM, Missoula Community Radio a chance, and if you like it, share it with your friends.
I didn't plan on playing this song, so I hadn't checked out this live recording to see when the song actually started. And I've been kind of using this boombox and the headphones to do that on the fly. I don't know that we want people to see that we're playing out of a boombox.
I'm gonna have a chocolate one of those.
What's that?
Oh, okay.
Nancy, is there a fork?
I don't find any forks, just spoons.
You're listening to Missoula Community Radio, KFGM, LP, FM 105.5. My name is Bob Troutman. I've been spinning some medicinal Americana for you for the last couple hours. We're going to finish up with the Del McCurry Band and Nashville Cats.